that you're seated, please state your name in full and spell your last name for the court's record.
My name is Casey Jones, Jones.
Go ahead, Counsel.
Thank you. What is your occupation?
I am a senior administrative support assistant with the Camas-Washougal Fire Department.
And how long have you been with the Camas-Washougal Fire Department?
8 years and 1 month.
And was it always in that same role?
Yes.
Okay. What are your duties and responsibilities as the senior administrative support assistant?
I administratively manage the fire department, including finances, I'm the data analyst, records custodian, and assorted support roles.
Okay. And do you work closely with the firefighters?
I do. When I'm in office, they are typically in-house as well.
Okay. And what station are you actually physically located?
Station 42.
And which of the stations was that?
That is the, I think, easternmost Camas station.
Okay. And when you're interacting with the firefighters, are you somebody that the employees of the fire department regularly confide in?
I am.
So kind of like the office therapist?
Yes.
Okay. Now, do you know Kevin West?
I do.
And was there a portion of time that he was assigned to Station 42?
Yes.
And how did that come to be?
When Kevin was promoted to battalion chief, he was temporarily assigned to the role of administrative battalion chief.
And what is the administrative battalion chief do?
The administrative battalion chief worked 4 10-hour days and handled some higher level, we didn't have a training officer at the time, so this person would handle training and some ancillary things like we put together an in-house academy, and so working on the organization and things like that.
Okay. And when was he promoted to the administrative battalion chief?
Shortly after his promotion to battalion chief, so that would have been, I think, early 2020.
Okay. And so how often would you and Kevin West have been at Station 42 at the same time?
4 days a week at a minimum.
And would he sometimes pick up overtime shifts?
Yes, the administrative battalion chief was also permitted to work line overtime, so sometimes overnights, sometimes additional days.
Okay. So would it be fair to say that you had frequent contact with Kevin West while he was in that assignment?
Yes.
And when did that assignment end for Mr. West?
It's a 9-month assignment, so sometime in late 2020.
Was that the time that you got to know him best?
Yes.
And how was your relationship with him in the beginning of his time there?
Pretty normal, much like most of the relationships in the department. He's a coworker. He was very well liked.
And were the two of you friendly?
Yes.
Would he talk to you about his personal life?
Yes.
And as time went on, did you try to distance yourself personally from Mr. West?
I did, yes.
Okay. When Kevin was at Station 42 with you during the time that you were more friendly with one another, did he ever talk with you about your relationship with Marcy, or with his relationship with Marcy?
Yes.
And what would he say?
Kevin described a very unhappy marriage with a lack of intimacy, frequent conflicts over finances, disputes over parenting their children. He very much wanted to end the marriage.
Okay. Was that a frequent topic of conversation?
Yes.
And did the two of you ever discuss what the details of a divorce would look like for him?
Yes.
Can you describe that conversation?
There was a specific instance where Kevin had come to work and he was highly agitated. Kevin and Marcy were having a disagreement over how much to pay for a car for their daughter. Kevin had stated that he was just ready to be done. He wanted to seek a divorce at that time. He was afraid of the finances. He was concerned about his retirement being accessed by Marcy. And so I suggested that we should...
Objections, non-responsive, it's hearsay.
I suggested that we should complete a worksheet that could estimate what alimony might look like so he could financially plan around that.
Was he concerned that he was going to have to pay Marcy alimony?
Absolutely.
Okay. And so how did the conversation go as you completed that worksheet?
The worksheet was very straightforward. It asked for both spouses' annual income, the state of residence, and the length of the marriage. The worksheet results returned.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Is a worksheet completed and handed to her by Mr. West?
Yes.
Done online. Excuse me.
The two of them did it together.
I overrule the objection.
The worksheet estimated a monthly.
Objection, Your Honor, it's hearsay.
I overruled that objection, counsel.
The worksheet estimated a monthly alimony payment of $4,500, and it estimated that that alimony payment would be in effect permanently because the marriage had lasted more than 20 years. And in the state of Washington, apparently, that's a possibility.
Okay. So when he discovered that he was potentially going to be paying a substantial amount of alimony indefinitely, what did he do?
Kevin appeared to be in shock, for lack of a better term. He stared at it for a while. He became very upset. I suggested that he should speak to an attorney because this is just an online worksheet and it wasn't proof of anything, and that he should speak to a professional who could probably give him better advice. He left my office, and about 30 minutes later, he returned to my office in street clothes and said that he was overwhelmed and going home for the day.
Was that prior to the end of his shift?
Yes.
And this would have been around 2020?
Yes.
During the time that you've known Kevin West, has he ever had anything positive to say about his marriage?
No.
Has he ever had anything positive to say about his wife, Marcy?
No.
What were his complaints about Marcy?
He complained that Marcy was not social. He complained that Marcy did not like intimacy with him. He complained that their parenting styles were very different. So he complained that he felt that she spent too much money and did not work enough to help support the family.
And you talked about her not being social. Was there ever a time where you overheard a conversation between Kevin and Marcy?
Yes.
And was that within regards to a social event?
Yes.
Can you describe that conversation?
In BC 42, which is the vehicle that the administrative battalion chief is assigned to drive. I can't remember exactly where we were coming from, but on Lake Road, headed towards Station 42, Kevin was having a phone conversation with Marcy. Kevin's cell phone is typically on a very high volume because he was particularly hard of hearing, and I could hear both parts of their conversation. Kevin was telling Marcy that he was going to go to a get-together, a small work get-together at James D. Pizza, and that spouses were not invited and not going to go, and she didn't have to worry about going.
Was that accurate?
No.
What was the state of that social event?
There was a small gathering. Several people brought their spouses, and at that gathering, Kevin was asked where Marcy was, and he said, she doesn't come to things.
Now, in the year or so leading up to Marcy's death, did you continue to hear him talk about the problems they were having in their relationship?
Yes.
Did you continue to hear him talk about divorce?
Yes.
Did you continue to hear him talk about financial strain they were having?
Yes.
And after Marcy's death, was a GoFundMe set up at the fire department to help him with those expenses?
The fire department did not set up the GoFundMe. The local
Objection,
IAFF
Your Honor, foundation.
On the day of Marcy's death, did you have contact with Kevin West?
Yes.
And how did that come about?
The department established a meal train, and the crew that was on shift that day made dinner we made dinner as a team, and I delivered it after my shift to his home.
Approximately what time did you head over to West residence?
I typically leave work at 4, so it would have been after 4.
And Where did you first see Kevin?
In the garage.
Was the garage door open or closed?
I believe it was open when I got there,
And he was in the garage. Was he with anyone else?
not when I arrived.
Did you ever go into any other part of the house?
No.
And had you alerted him that you were coming?
Yes.
And what did you bring?
A lasagna and some garlic bread and a salad, I believe.
Can you please describe your interaction in the garage on the evening of the 8th?
Objection, vague question calls for narrative response.
Kevin appeared very enthusiastic to me. He seemed very happy. He was unquestionably happier than I had almost ever seen him. He took me on a tour of his garage bar. He demonstrated to me a bottle opener made out of a deer's hind end. There were moments that Kevin covered his face and pretended to cry, but he would very quickly shift back to just a very enthusiastic disposition.
And when you say he was pretending to cry, why do you feel he was pretending?
I have seen Kevin cry, and that was not what this was. And of course, there were never tears. There was also an amount of theatrics in covering his face as he pretended to, and then just kind of sitting up and dropping his hands and snapping out of that.
Did the two of you discuss anything else in the garage? Did he talk at all about Marcy?
He said that it wasn't how he thought something like that would be. He said there was no pop. She had a headache and went to bed, and he just woke up to what happened.
Okay. And I have no further questions. Thank you.
Cross-examination.
So, Ms. Jones, you're the kind of the clearinghouse for information about different employees around the fire station, right?
Yes.
Office gossip, if you will.
Yes.
In fact, you shared with all the other coworkers by email a thing called a PC affidavit, didn't you?
Not all of the other coworkers.
Not a lot of them.
No, not a lot of them. No.
You emailed to various employees the PC affidavit.
Fewer than 5. Less than 10% of my staff.
And you thought that Kevin worked very little and was very handsomely paid for that, didn't you?
I did.
Is that yes?
Yes.
He made your job hard because he had a hard time doing the payroll, working the payroll software, isn't that right?
No.
You're saying he didn't have any trouble with it?
He had trouble with the scheduling software.
Okay. Oh, scheduling software, okay. Well, forgive me. And that made your job harder, didn't it?
It didn't make my job harder, no. It delayed the implementation of the software, which was very expensive for the organization.
Okay, so it caused inconvenience for the organization and for you.
For the organization, not for me personally.
When you went to the house on the 8th, that was in the evening, correct?
Late afternoon, I would say.
How much time did you spend with him?
Less than 30 minutes, probably less than 20 minutes.
So you hadn't seen him earlier that day?
No.
You didn't see him later than that day? Okay, who else was in the house?
He said family was in the house. His mother briefly came out and introduced herself.
And so you're saying that when he saw you, he was happy to see you, he was smiling?
Yes.
And you said that he said what happened was unexpected because there was no pop. He's referring to no pop. She didn't report a pop in her head, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and he would have expected that based upon what he knew at that moment.
I can't speak to what he knew at that moment.
Oh, you can't speculate as to what he thought or how he felt.
What he knew at that moment?
That's all I have.
Redirect.
No.
Witness speaks to you.
Yes, subject to recall.
You're free to go at this time, but you're subject to recall, so you cannot remain in the courtroom. You'll need to keep parties advised of how to reach you and do not discuss your testimony with any other potential witness. You're free to go. Your next witness.